International Memorial Day Blending Conference, May 2023. General subject: Knowing, experiencing and enjoying Christ, as revealed in Philippians. Message 4. Knowing Christ, and the power of His resurrection. Day 2. Outline. Capital E. The word know in Philippians 3:10 is equal to experience. Number 1. To know Christ means to experience Him, to enjoy Him, to participate in Him, and to partake of Him. Number 2. To know Christ is thus to apprehend Him, by experiencing Him. Capital F. To know Christ is not merely to have the knowledge concerning Him, but to gain His very person. Number 1. To gain something requires the paying of a price. Number 2. To gain Christ is to experience, enjoy and take possession of His unsearchable riches, by paying a price. Morning nourishment. Philippians 3:9-11. And be found in Him, not having my own righteousness, which is out of the law, but that which is through faith in Christ, the righteousness which is out of God, and based on faith. To know Him, and the power of His resurrection, and the fellowship of His sufferings, being conformed to His death, if perhaps I may attain to the out-resurrection from the dead. Since Paul already had the excellency of the knowledge of Christ, why was he still seeking to know Him? The excellency of the knowledge of Christ comes by revelation, but the knowing of Him, spoken of in Philippians 3:10, comes not by revelation, but by experience. According to my experience, the word know here is equal to experience. To know Him means to experience Him, to enjoy Him, to participate in Him and to partake of Him. Take eating as an example. First you select certain groceries, you pay for them, and then you cook them. By eating what you have cooked, you come to know the food you have bought. In like manner, we also need to pay the price, to gain Christ, and to be found in Him, not having the righteousness, which is out of ourselves, but the righteousness, that is God Himself lived out of our being, in faith. In such a condition, we are to know Christ, through experiencing Him a little, at a time. It is not sufficient to listen to messages, and to see Christ by revelation. Today's reading. It is one thing to have a doctrinal understanding of being found in Christ. It is quite another thing to be found in Christ in our daily living. If I were to visit you in your home, where would I find you? Would I find you in your good behavior, or in Christ? Where we are when others observe us, indicates the realm in which we live. If we live in our culture, we shall be found by others in culture. If we live in our good behavior, we shall be discovered by others in our behavior. In whatever realm we live, that is where we shall be seen, observed, and discovered by others. When Paul was still living by the law, he was found in the law. But one day, he began to have the excellency of the knowledge of Christ. He saw the vision that Christ must be his everything. Love, kindness, humility, wisdom, patience, intention, attitude, and even his words, utterances and expressions. On account of this excellency of the knowledge of Christ, he was willing to count all things to be loss. Furthermore, he suffered the loss of all things, and counted them as refuse, in order to gain Christ and be found in Him. We need to have a vision of the preciousness of Christ. Then we need to gain the very Christ we have seen. For example, suppose a person visits a jewelry store and sees many valuable items on display. To see these items is one thing, but to gain them is another. To know Christ is not merely to have the knowledge concerning Him, but to gain His very person. Christ is the embodiment of the fullness of the Godhead, and the reality of the shadows of all positive things. To gain Him is to experience, enjoy and take possession of all His unsearchable riches. As we gain Christ, we should also live in Him, and become those who are in Him in experience. Then when others see us or observe us, they will find us in Christ. We shall not be found in our own virtues. We shall be found in Christ, and in Him alone. Oh, that we may gain Him, and be found in Him. May we be willing to suffer the loss of all things, and count them as refuse, in order to be found in Christ. If we gain Christ, and live in Him, He as our righteousness will become our expression before both God and man. Then we shall not simply be found in Christ in a general way, but we shall be found in the very righteousness, which is Christ Himself, lived out of us. Only when we are found in Christ will the Lord be satisfied. Likewise, those who serve the Lord will be pleased and satisfied only when the believers are found in Christ. This is the end of Day 2 of Message 4.